Hey everybody, welcome to episode 11 of Chord Expansion. In today's episode we are going to be discussing the Half Whole Diminished Scale and chord voicings that line up within that scale. Half Whole Diminished is a great scale that is often used over dominant 7 chords to create some more tension. And there are going to be a couple of similarities between this episode and the episode we did on the altered scale and the chord voicings that line up within that scale. And the reason why that is because both scales, the altered scale and the half whole diminished scale, share a lot of the same notes. There are a couple of notes towards the end of the scale that differentiate them, which kind of creates the distinct sound between the two scales. But there will be a couple of voicings that can apply over both scenarios. So let's go over what a half whole diminished scale is. So we're going to be in the key of G. And it literally means, half whole. It means you go up a half step, up a whole step, up a half step, up a whole step, and you keep following that pattern until you get back to the root note. So it's an 8-note scale. So we're going to start on G. We have the root. Then A flat is going to be our flatted second, or flat 9, whatever you prefer to call it. B flat is our flatted third, or sharp 9, whatever you prefer to call that. And then B natural is our third. C sharp is our sharp 4, or sharp 11. So the first 5 notes right there, it's the same as the first 5 notes of an altered scale. Alright, now these next 2 notes are what separate them. So now we actually have a D natural. So we have a natural 5 and a sharp 11 next to each other. And then we also have an E natural, which is our natural 13, which is really the main note that separates altered from diminished, right? Altered is always typically going to have like a sharp 5, flat 13 kind of sound. Whereas half whole diminished is going to have natural 13, right? Natural 13 mixed with some other altered tones, whether it be sharp 9, flat 9, or sharp 11. And then the last note we're going to have is F, which is our flatted 7th, which is the same in both altered and half whole diminished, obviously. All right, so what we're going to do now that we know the scale, is we're going to run up the entire scale on the first string, and we're going to come up with a variety of different chord voicings with each note on top. And as always, if you would like access to PDFs of everything that I go over today with an additional 27 voicings not covered in the video, you can head over to patreon.com/MikeGaudetteMusic. So we're going to start out with the root note. And for a lot of these voicings, I'm going to try to get the natural 13 in it if I can, because like I said, that's kind of the note that really makes it half whole diminished. But there will be a few that don't have them, where I'm just kind of mixing different altered tones within the half whole diminished scale. So we're going to start out by doing the root note on top. So one that I really like is this. So this is like a 13 flat 9. We have intervallically, we have flat 9, third, 13, and root. Like that one a lot. Another one that you can also do is this. So that's more of like a flat 9, sharp 11. Intervallically, we have flatted 7th, flat 9, sharp 11, root. Another one that's really cool, I actually got this one from Joe DiOrio. I love that one, really dense sounding. So you do intervallically, it's flat 9, flat 5, natural 5, and root. So right there, that's a great example of a chord that would differentiate itself from the altered scale, because we have a natural 5 and a sharp 11 next to each other. Right, that half step creates some, some dissonance within the chord, which sounds awesome. And if you're unfamiliar with how the diminished scale works, all of these chord voicings can be moved up 3 frets at a time because it's symmetrical. So any of these. You could, experiment moving them around by 3 frets at a time. So now that's a couple for the root note. Now we're going to do the flat 9 on top, which is A flat. Probably the most common one is this G13 flat 9. People use this a lot. So intervallically, it's flatted 7th, 3rd, 13, flat 9. Now we can, as always, like we do in all of these videos, we can just take this chord and see if there's any note that we can just alter a bit to get a different voicing, but by changing one note in the chord. So right here, I can move the 13 down to the sharp 11 if I want, then I get this. Right, so. And that's a great way to experiment with some moving voices within the chords that you're playing. Alright, now one other, this one's pretty dense too, but I like this. It's another 13 flat 9, but its voice kind of interesting. It is root, third, 13, flat 9. So it's basically just this chord, but rather than having the flatted 7th on the bottom, you have the root, which which gives us a little bit more dissonance because we have that minor ninth interval between the G and the A flat. A lot of these really dissonant intervals, they sound pretty wild when you move them up, well, like the 3 frets like I was talking about. All right, now next we're going to do the sharp 9 on top, which is B flat. So we can just take this chord we did here, the flat 9, the 13 flat 9, and just change the top note from flat 9 to sharp 9. We get this. All right. Another one we could do is up here. This is a dominant 7 sharp 9. Intervallically, it's 3, 5, flat 7, sharp 9. All right, and another one we could do, we can take this same voicing, and rather than having the 5th on the 3rd string, we can do the 13 right here. Then it's 3rd, 13, flat 7, sharp 9, which is actually the same as the voicing we did down here. But up here, right, all of a sudden now, it functions as a different kind of altered chord, right? All right, now we will do the 3rd on top. So one of my favorites is this. So this is flat 7, sharp 11, 13, and 3rd. So you call it G13 sharp 11. Another good one would be this, which is flat 9, 5th, root, 3rd. All right, now the next one we have is the sharp 11. One of the more common ones would be this, which is 3rd, flatted 7th, flat 9, sharp 11. Right, we can also do this. We could just take the flat 9, lower it to the root. That just makes it a regular G7 sharp 11. Another one we can do this. Another one that's a little more dissonant because we have the sharp 9. So it's 5, flat 7, sharp 9, sharp 11. I like that one a lot. All right, now we'll do the 5th on top. One of the more common ones would be this. Just straight G7 sharp 9, 3rd, flat 7, sharp 9, 5. If you're familiar with the Jimi Hendrix chord, just take the bottom note and just move it to the 1st string. So you have to rework the fingering, but it's just the Jimi Hendrix chord, but with the 5th on top rather than the sharp 9. All right, another one that's a little bit more dissonant would be this. So this is like a 13 flat 9, but it's interesting because we have no 7. We have the 3rd, 13, flat 9, and the 5. And that's actually a cool one to alternate between these 2 chords. So a lot of these you'll find like these inner moving voicings that you can do within the chords, which is great. Love that sound. Nice dark sound. Okay, now next we'll do the 13. This is the one that probably has the most variety of voicings on it. I believe on the Patreon I have 7 different voicings for this one. I'll give you a couple here. So the first one will have G13 flat 9. Very common, a lot of people play this. 3rd, flatted 7th, flat 9, 13. All right, another one we can do is we could do the same thing but make it a sharp 9. So take that flat 9 on the 2nd string and raise it 2 frets. So now we have this. Same chord we did down here. All right. Another one we could do is this. Another very common one. Flat 7, flat 9, 3, 13. All right, so. All right, and then the last one we'll have the flatted 7th. So another common one for that would be this. 5th, flat 9, sharp 11, flatted 7th. All right, if you want a little bit more of a dissonant one, this one is cool. 3rd, root, flat 9, flat 7. So in a lot of instances when we have the more dissonant voicings, usually there's going to be a minor 2nd somewhere. Not always, but a lot of the time, right? Right here we have the flat 9 between the root and the flatted 2nd. And because of the nature of the diminished scale, right, that half whole pattern, we have a ton of half steps that line up naturally within the scale. So the opportunities to find all of these half steps within the chords is really all over the place. You have so many options with it, which is one of the reasons why this scale is just so cool and so dissonant sounding. You can get so many great harmonies out of it. So that is it. That is our episode for this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got some new voicings that you can experiment with. And like I said, if you would like access to the 27 additional voicings not covered in the video with everything that I just went over written out in PDFs, you can head over to patreon.com/MikeAudetteMusic, or if you would like to just donate and support the channel, you can do that at paypal.me/MikeAudetteMusic. That's our episode for this week. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the next episode. Take care.